Hello YouTube, here from the messy garage again. So I finally have all the 250R or 500R TRX 500R Laeger chassis stuff disassembled, and here is the pile. This pile is going to be dechromed and rechromed, and the swing arm, axle, everything else is getting powdered. And one thing I am going to powder for sure is this. You might be asking, why would you powder this? Why wouldn't you have a chrome? Why wouldn't you replace it with aluminum when it's steel? It's ugly. Well, yes, it is steel. It is ugly. But it fits this frame, and looks like it has significant drop. If I had a stock one to play with to verify fit the same, I would go with that. And the other thing is this little bore in here. I am not happy with the way that fits. It's a little bit loose, has a little bit of rocking, but when we powder that on the inside, it's going to close up that hole just a little bit, and I will hone that to fit. So a little hone, then a little grease on there, and that will be just a fit. It'll be very good. So if I had to build one with a bronze bushing I could set on there just to see, I would so do it, but I don't have one. These A-arms were a total pain to take apart, the rusty ones, but I got it done. I have to say one thing about Durablu axles, because that's Durablu. If somebody tells you that they broke one, they are full of crap, because that thing is built like a brick shithouse. So it amazed me. And the little snap ring, the big one on the end that holds the sprocket hub, no way those things ever come out. Just doesn't happen. That thing was such a pain in the butt to take out of there. I am about 100% certain that is the CR500 link. You can see the offset there. That's something I've only seen with the CR500 link stuff. Could be totally wrong, could be stupid, but hopefully I'm right anyway. This swing, everything is very high quality stuff. It just sat under a tarp. And this is what happens when stuff sits under a tarp. Yay, rust. As you can see, got the Raptor done and back together. If you have to replace a subframe on a Raptor 700, please be very mindful that a lot of those are like a self-tapping bolt, they call it. It's just a machine screw with some grooves cut in the end of the threads, and honestly, they suck. I broke 2 of them off putting that new subframe on. Like, just broke off the end 1/4 inch of them, the tip. So, drilled them out really well, and I just tapped them and put a steel insert in there because I gotta be honest with you, I'm not screwing around with that stuff. It's just not cool. The way those things thread in there, you have to force them in. You better put some lube in there, otherwise it's gonna be a problem. And the bolts are they're kind of soft, so it's like, yeah, I would be careful, use lube. It's almost worth tapping everything that's a self-threading bolt and putting a steel insert in them. It's just, you're drilling a hole, tapping it, and doing a countersink on the top. Run the insert in with red Loctite. There's plenty of meat for it, so they're only M6 1.0 bolts. So as you can see down here, I still have all the crap out as I was sitting down here working. I have the Durablu hubs, and I have the carrier. It's still shiny, but I'll still probably buff the center with Neverdell. But the anti-fade lock nut, I have a lot of polishing to do. And the more stuff I take apart, the more polishing I have to do. It's kind of sucks. I got to go get those tires demounted because they're obviously junk. Would be wonderful to, if I had a way to identify what size those were. And speaking of the rear end, on this bike, I don't know how much power they were planning to make, but it has to be over 100. Because okay. There's the back end of the Banshee. And I've seen those stock axles hold up to around 100 horsepower. After that, if you got lots of grip, stuff can go bad. But in sand, like on pavement, they're just 100 horsepower. You're gonna be breaking things in the rear, just how it is. But how beefy that rear swing, just the whole rear end in general is quite impressive, and I don't think you're ever gonna hurt that. Everything is just really stout. So, to recap, the Raptor's done. Yamaha replaced some swing arms. Kind of suck. They're kind of a pain. The getting stuff off the powder coat, stuff off the chrome. Oh, and the hubs I still have to take apart. I gotta take the hubs apart to send off the chrome with the chrome pile over there. And I gotta get new rod ends and new ball joints for those arms. And something actually that I wanted to point out, that I see this a lot on aftermarket A-arms, because they figure that these things don't have a very high load and they're never going to see any like real load. And I know these things are rusty, but this rod end, this thing sucked when it was put in. It's a crappy rod end with a liner. This is not a good rod end. Yes, I know it's rusty, but this was never a good rod end. When it was put in, it was junk. Like, if you can order your A-arms, if they take this style, please get better rod ends. You will thank yourself. So, a good rod end, like an Alina ball, is a really good rod end. There are some cool Aurora bearing ones out there. It's just rod end stuff. You will get sand in it and it will loosen up. That's just kind of how it is. The bushing, like this right here, this style is all right. I know this is dirty, but this Delrin, everything on these is super tight. These came out, pushed out really easily. Not pushed out easily. I didn't struggle taking these out, but they were not so loose that they were bad. They're actually really tight. I don't think that they've ever been ran, just sat. Anyway, that's a score, something I don't have to replace. I still might replace the Delrin. Oh, camera. I hold it in the wrong angles all the time. Still might replace the Delrin. Don't know, but I considered that a score because they weren't that messed up. Actually, they weren't messed up at all. What am I talking about? So once all that stuff is off at powder coat and chrome, the Laeger is going to get kind of put on the sideline while I'm waiting for that stuff to come back. And it's going to be 100% go time on the Banshee. This Banshee is like, she's a poor girl. She's so neglected. But she needs some love. She needs to get cleaned. This electrical harness that's just routed like, yeah. needs to be addressed. Everything is going to get lubed, and big motor is going to get put in. Won't set the pipes on until I get the new carbs. New carbs are probably a month out. I'm going to try the smart carb, which I might regret because it's relatively unknown in this platform. Electrons seem to be the go-to, but I really like the idea of the non-vented smart carb and being a little bit more fuel efficient, although I can't see them being much more efficient than Electron because it's all the same principle. Density of air is drawing the fuel in. Yeah, maybe the lack of a power jet, but then again, that might hurt me too. Might lean out and blow my big motor up on top end, which, oh boy, I would be a very displeased individual. All right, I'll do another video update once this stuff is off to its respective powder and chrome, and hopefully have an update with more stuff polished. I am gonna be, the CPI silencer. I know they're not being made right now, and it's a very simple can and end caps. Pretty sure you're gonna see me make some of them here shortly, like a couple of months, once I get my fab table and the welder and stuff in here. I bought my piece of steel for the top of the frame jig, so that's cool. It is 20 by 72, which is more than wide enough to do ATV frames. Anyway, I will let y'all go. Have a good night, YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Again, the dirty garage is just an illusion.